I just realised my mic was muted. I'm a genius. Hello and welcome to the Battle of the South. My name is Munchables, and casting with me tonight is going to be Newell Hench. How you doing, man?
Hey, I'm doing good. Excited.
Excellente. So, going to be heading straight into game one. And it's going to be the BubbleBathBoys versus ProfBrianCox's. I can't remember what the team name is.
Big black holes.
That one. So we're going to be heading into... Oh, it's a best of one. I was going to say game one, but it is a best of one. We're going to head straight into our bands. Straight away, we're going to see Jam 4, Rek'Sai, Lee Sin bands coming out. So, relatively standard jungle bands. Don't usually see Lee Sin band that much, but bit of a wildcard band. We're going to see the Castin band out.
Castin is one of ProfBrianCox's two champions he's been playing a lot since the most recent patches. I looked through his match history recently. I expect him to go for Ari now. Well, I expect him to prioritize Ari very highly, especially with recent buffs in the most recent patch. Sitting at the top of the win rates right now, and it's ProfBrianCox's favourite champion. Well, at least the champion he plays the most. He might hate it and just want to win.
It's worth it to win the game. So, yeah, Ari, obviously after those changes, in case you haven't read the patch notes, obviously now when she throws out her Q, while the Q is still, while the Orb of Deception is still in the air, she gets an extra speed up. Her charm no longer gives a DFG effect, but the base damage has been increased by up to 40 at the max level, and also the scaling has been increased by 0.3. And then the Foxfire also has increased scaling and increased base DPS. So, and also it'll fire off slightly quicker as well. So that's obviously been buffed up a little bit. I am going to turn down the client music ever so slightly so you can actually hear us. Apparently Hench is really quiet, so I'm just going to turn him up as well.
Thinking about it, I do actually know one of these players very well. Georgie Lol plays a lot of KO jungle. He plays in mid-diamond at 4 AM in the morning, so I run into him very regularly. That's one of the few people who does that. But I'm slightly surprised by the standard pick. It'll probably be top, looking at these teams. It's very popular right now in the meta, but I was expecting a first rotation Ari here. It's possible they're looking to use their last pick to counter-pick mid lane, would be my thought process here.
Yeah, I mean, Lissandra as well, obviously you can pick it as that flex pick, so say it gets countered in the top lane or in the mid lane, they can just swap which lane it's going to go into. As well, Pantheon, not this most common pick really, I mean, not quite an S tier jungler at the minute, but definitely at least A tier, definitely a jungler that you can put a lot of pressure across the map on with, so...
I mean, Pantheon was very, very powerful with the dragon changes initially due to the early dragons, but that's been nerfed down a bit. And we've got back to the old stage of Pantheon jungle where he's got some good solid ganks early, but he does scale off a bit, especially when you pick him into a Janna. If they're quick on their tornadoes, it's really hard to do anything as Pantheon in the late game in a team fight. But equally, if you get snowballing, they can just end the game in 20 minutes.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like, when a Pantheon starts to get a hit, when you get crit by those spears when you're less than 15%, there is no way you're surviving that one. And I mean, we'll have to see if he can get that ball rolling or whether they're going to be able to defend themselves. It's good that they've banned out these three junglers, because pretty much every game at the minute we see Jarvan, Rek'Sai and Lee Sin. With all three of those bans out, we're going to see Vi versus Pantheon, not a matchup I've seen in quite a while. Vi sort of on the very edge of the meta, not something that we see picked up too often, and going to be seeing Sivir locked in as well. Sivir, pretty much bread and butter AD carry right now.
Cardiff were definitely one of the stronger teams when Vi was good in Newell at least. That's when they were in the Super 8. So they're probably, we can expect a bit of a throwback from them, I think, sticking with strategies they know and have tested. I personally am always terrified of playing with a Vi, of you see the Vi ult and then the flash away and then suddenly your Vi is miles from your team. But with a Sivir and Janna, they can probably chase them down, and it'll be a very quick and explosive fight when they do run at them.
Yeah, we might even see ProfBrianCox pick up an Ari here. Obviously, when Vi goes for that ult, we are going to see Morgana locked in. I would anticipate that being support. So there is still potentially a mid pick available for Cardiff over there. They can, obviously, with the Lissandra, that is a flex pick. So if Vi does get the ult off and then Ari uses her spirit rush to get away, you can pull the Vi way too deep and pick up a free kill for that.
I think Morg's actually quite a good pick here. It's not the strongest of lanes against Severe because of the spell shield or Janna, but Vi ult is rather ineffective against Morg's shield. You have a very long time to use the shield, and even slower reaction supports can get their shield down, you'd hope, most of the time. Hovering over Orianna here should go quite well. It'll give them very quick comp once they have Sivir, or Janna, and Orianna W's.
Yeah, a bit of an interesting composition that they've got going. Obviously, you've got the Janna, who's very good at disengaging, really doesn't want to fight, but then they've picked a jungler like Vi, who is 100% all in, not really a defensive champion at all. So we've got kind of contrasting champions, I'd say. Basically, all of the champions aside from Vi, you can play relatively defensively, but Vi, you really want to go for that all-in engage.
Well, when you have like right now, Janna's just one of the strongest supports, and the shields are always going to be fantastic. I mean, you can also just use Janna to move around the map quickly, which might be a very solid plan for Cardiff here. Just avoid ever having the real fight, or just very likely catching out Zed split pushing by just Sivir ult, Janna, Orianna. They will just, if they play it right, they can run Plymouth around the map here, and they'll never be able to get a straight fight and be able to use their team effectively.
Yeah, and so taking a look across the side at the purple team's comp, that is a mid-game power spike team if I have ever seen it. We've got Corki, Zed, and Lissandra, as well as a Pantheon jungle, so he's going to be wanting to snowball them towards that mid-game power spike that they're going to be aiming for. The only thing that would even change about this comp would be maybe Aurelia top, but obviously they banned that one out, so didn't want that first picked against them. But I mean, if they can get the ball rolling in that early game and head towards that power spike at about the 15-minute mark, they are going to be pretty unstoppable.
Yeah, like Lissandra and Pantheon are both fantastic at engaging in the mid game when they can just AoE everyone down or stun one target out. There's a lot of potential. Like, it's one of the most horrible things as well when you're laning against Zed mid lane and Lissandra roams down. There's not much you can do if you get Lissandra and Zed ulted. Orianna has got barrier, but if you just get caught out by both of them, she'll die very quickly. It won't be enough, so they'll need good wall coverage. They have got the redeeming feature of having a Renekton, of course, is very good early game, so they won't be too far behind in the mid game, you'd hope, but there's definitely a blue team late game comp and a purple team mid game comp.
Yeah, and it's going to be down to whether or not the blue team are able to peel away from those mid game fights. I mean, obviously they have the Sivir ult, they have a Janna who is incredibly good at peeling, as well as Orianna, who's an incredibly defensive mid laner. So long as they position correctly, they should be able to keep themselves out of those mid game fights. And they may even have to concede maybe a couple of dragons, maybe a couple of towers, but in the long term, they'll be able to outscale their opponents and it will be worth it. However, we could just see that maybe they win just straight up muscle win lanes and end up snowballing ahead of their opponents.
It is very scary to lead this stage of the game. Well, since the dragon updates, you feel like you always want to test that first dragon, but as long as they don't overcommit for it, they may have to give it up. They can't just ignore it and not ward it at all. They've got to make the other team commit for it, but they just get past that, make sure they get a dragon at some stage, and don't get too far behind. I do actually I'm a big Sivir fan right now.
Yeah, really strong AD carry at the minute. I think as well, one thing that they might be able to put in their advantage, if they can get a well-timed gank in this bot lane and pick up maybe 1 or 2 kills, if they can take that first dragon before this mid-game power spike that we keep talking about hits, they're going to be in a really good position, because it doesn't necessarily matter too much if their opponents... I mean, the second, third and fourth dragon realistically don't make that much of a difference. It's not worth getting aced over. So they can afford to give up a couple of dragons in that mid-game and then roll on towards their power spike.
As long as you get the first dragon's the big one, and then until the 5th, you're really just trying to stop them getting their first dragon. With a lot of comps, the 3rd dragon is also important, just because not in this game. There's all sorts of
The TSM
melee
OGN rotations.
completely obsoleted once the other team moves 5% faster. For example, a Darius, but we don't see him in competitive play for already too easy to kite with coordination.
Yeah. Maybe if he picked up a Righteous Glory, but alas, don't see that item anywhere near enough at the minute. Yeah, unfortunately, I do. I really like that item.
I've seen it from time to time. Like, for a while, it was a meta pick on Maokai when it just got released, and then people stopped playing Maokai, so it didn't have a very long life as that. But we'll see.
Yeah, you can certainly build it on things like Malphite as well, who we are starting to see creep into the meta a little bit. Obviously, you're very comfortable laning just against really anyone because you can just play so safely, but we are going to be heading straight onto the map. On our blue side, we are going to have Snugzilla playing Renekton in this top lane. We're going to have BDS in the jungle on Vi. We have A-Whip in the mid lane on Orianna, and Pigleets on Sivir as the AD carry, and then the one and only Matthew Damon playing Janna in the bot lane.
Yeah.
Trying to go through our red side matchup lineup.
We've got 5 people at the bot side now for just Plymouth. They have been spotted out, so it's going to back out.
Yeah, obviously been warded out there, so not really going to be able to achieve anything. Blue team may be looking to try and pick something up.
It'll be interesting if they choose to take this fight. I mean, Cardiff has spotted out. No, they just walked away. Yeah, it was interesting that they tried to fight that. I don't really think they want to have the level 1 fight, even with site advantage. Just Corki and Morg. There's just so much AoE and single target stun on Plymouth at level 1 that it's not really worth fighting it.
Certainly not. And
it looks like we're going to see Sivir and Janna do golems, and meanwhile they're just Pantheon's going to take Gromp on the other side, so they'll get the experience advantage early.
We are going to see Hinamori here in the Tribrush. Is standing on a ward, but looking like she wants to try and get some harass down as they try and do these golems at level 1. Hinamori deciding to back away. He saw the ward die, so knows that they've been seen there and deciding. Actually, it did deter them from doing that, Grom.
Yeah, we're seeing a standard lane setup. I'm not hugely surprised. 2v1's less likely. We're starting to see them with the very top teams in the Null, but most of the sandwiches have got no idea what we're doing with 2v1s, and I expect to see mostly 2v2 lanes today.
Yeah, I think the only real team in the Null that regularly does things like lane switches is Cambridge usually. Occasionally we do see Birmingham implementing that sort of thing as well now, but Cambridge really sort of brought that in for the Null, and they're the ones that really try to make that meta happen, and it's paid off for them a lot in the past. But are obviously just going to be seeing standard lanes. Renekton going to be having a little bit of a hard time in these first few levels. Obviously, Lissandra having that long-range poke and having a free ability every 20 seconds is going to mean she can very comfortably harass Snugzilla every time it comes in for the CS.
What he really needs to do is try and push the lane out himself, make it really hard for Lissandra to farm at tower. With Qmax on Renekton, you can push the wave really hard, you'll heal up, you'll take a bit of harass when you go in, but both players will want to just push the lane. Lissandra to just stay at range, and Renekton so he can just sit in a bush and not have to be poked down.
Yeah, definitely, and we'll see if he's able to do that. Yeah, it's actually getting harassed down a bit here. Lissandra just doing such a good job of pushing this lane out, and that's something that Lissandra excels at. Obviously, once you have a couple of items behind you, you can just Q and E once, and that's the entire wave gone, including melee minions. So they're actually jumping forwards there very aggressively. Obviously, he does have quite a bit of sustain, but he is going to be having a hard time trying to get to that farm. He's actually even in farm right now, though, and the minions are pushing towards him, so he's doing a good job.
We've seen slightly different jungle starts from Pantheon and Vi here, with Vi already having backed and picked up that second item. is going to be able to make the first gank.
Looking like he wants to go on to ProfBrianCox, but he smells her out and backs away straight away.
It's quite hard for Vi to make ganks pre-6, especially on someone like Zed. If he doesn't waste his shadow, there's no way she can really get anywhere near him, especially whilst he still has flash.
Yeah, Zed definitely a very slippery champion, not one that's easy to lock down. And generally very safe game so far. Both junglers just going through their normal routes. Snugzilla actually getting fairly low. He may have to base relatively soon. Just hiding under his tower. Vidius has smited away at those Razorbeaks, so he's going to have that Oracle's Elixir to clear out the ward in the mid lane and possibly be able to get a gank off later on, but it looks like he's going to head towards his jungle again, try and farm up a bit.
We're seeing Plymouth are actually falling a little bit behind here, which is not really what they want. Pantheon's really going to need to make an impact around level 6, if not before, as we were saying in the pre-game. And so far has been unable to make any progress anywhere, being spotted out in mid lane by a VDS ganking himself.
Yeah, and I mean, as you say, Plymouth need to be getting towards this mid-game power spike. We are going to see Pantheon trying to come in this bot lane, but not going to be able to follow through on anything. Hinamori not quite able to land that binding.
Renekton's backing it. Renekton's really struggling early, but let's see if he picks up some early MR. Once he's got some MR, it'll be very hard for Lysandra to poke him because he'll just heal up more than she's damaging with his Q quite quickly.
We are actually going to see Vidius could be in trouble here. ProfBrianCox is going to use the Ignite, flashes forwards with the shuriken, a shield comes out from AWeb. It's going to save Vidius' life. Now, Briancox could be in trouble actually. His shadow is on cooldown. Is he going to be able to finish this one up? AWeb is out of mana. Briancox is going to be able to walk away from that one narrowly, and that is going to be his Ignite on cooldown though. And his flash.
Very aggressive play by ProfBrianCox there. It's Wing straight away, flashing straight away. He committed everything so early in the end. Oriana shield was enough. He did force Vi's flash, but Vi is just safe all day. Zed not having a flash against Vi is a very dangerous place to be when she hits level 6, and still be on cooldown when she does at this rate.
Yeah, certainly will. And I mean, he will have his ultimate, but AWeb has both summoners still available and has that shockwave, so Briancox really not in a good spot in this 1v1 lane right now. Without his Ignite, he's going to struggle to assassinate an Oriana with... oh, actually, we're going to see Josh Hall. A beautiful whirlwind comes out, and Matt Damon just denies the stun from Pantheon and able to walk away from that one comfortably.
It's very hard for either team to gank this bot lane here, at least for the junglers to do so. With Spell Shield being able to negate Vi and Janna Tornado, it's one of the reasons why Janna is just always so strong. It's one of the safest lanes you can have. Nothing but shields, slows and knockups. There's very little you can do.
We are going to start to see now in this top lane, Renekton has done an excellent job of keeping up in farm, and now he has a null magic mantle in his inventory. He's going to be able to get close to that farm. He's not going to have to be as scared of Lysandra, and now he'll even, if he's able to get it off, slice and dice through the minions, get a stun down onto Macho, and get some harass down himself. He is actually going to do that just now, and obviously if he's able to keep trading like this, Macho doesn't have any mana regen yet, and his free spell is only once every 20 seconds, so Snugzilla can harass him pretty confidently very often.
I mean, the trades are going relatively evenly each time, but Sandra has no sustain and mana, and Renekton is just impossible to force out of lane unless you can threaten killing him, which Lysandra by herself can't.
Yeah, I mean, again, part of it comes down to those mana issues that she has, and also her cooldowns, aside from her Q, her cooldowns are pretty damn long, so not going to be able to commit to too much very often. And Macho could be in trouble here. Vidius is in the top lane, has his ultimate available. Lysandra does have ult as well. This is going to be the stun coming down. There's the ultimate coming out from Vi, and first blood goes across to Snugzilla.
Renekton in the end. It's very good. I'm not entirely sure how he snuck into that bush. I didn't even see him. Just avoiding wards and very hard to dodge a Vi. In the early game.
Yeah, not much
not to see Lysandra ult instantly, but probably dead either way.
I think immediately the Renekton stun went down, and then as soon as that was finished, the Vi ult followed up, and by the time that was done, Macho was already dead. So unfortunately, not going to be able to get that ult off. Actually, we could see an all-in this bot lane. Hinamori is level 6, Piglet's still level 5. A little bit of an advantage for the red team there, but looks like Piglet and Matt Damon are just going to be able to play this one safe, and the all-in just going to be denied. Obviously, that spell shield makes it so hard for Hinamori to engage anything.
Might see red side start looking towards Dragon now. Their Pantheon's moving down. This is what we told them, this is where they're strong. Though they don't quite have the items yet, so I'm not sure. We've got we've got much better ward coverage from red side, but they're not taking advantage of it.
They definitely could start to look towards those objectives. Obviously, Piglet and Matt Damon are going to be wanting to base relatively soon.
They're collapsing.
Have some money. We are going to see them heading towards this. Vi could be in trouble. Zed is heading down, but deciding to change his mind about that one. Just going to clear away wards, get that Scuttle Crab on their side so they see if the enemies do go for a dragon, but not opting to go for that just yet for themselves. And actually, Piglet getting caught by a binding there. The spell shield not in time. There's the black shield onto Corki. So no CC going to go down onto him, and trading relatively evenly, to be honest, in that mid lane. Hinamori took a fair chunk of damage.
Shield just
Piglet down to
so
half
much damage
HP.
from, even if he messed up the spell shield, you've got Janna shield still. It's still taking very good poke, and they might even get forced to base here just because once you're at half health, it's hard to sustain.
Yeah. So, actually we're going to see the shockwave go down in the mid lane. BrianCox could be in trouble. His Living Shadow is on cooldown, has his ultimate though. In the meantime, Matt Damon getting aggressed upon by Ches, but they've been baited into this. Avidius is here now. He's going to go onto Hinamori, but there's the TP. He's not going to be able to take down Hinamori. A beautiful exhaust goes down. Now Avidius getting locked up. There's the Lissandra ultimate. Actually, Hinamori's so close to going down. A-Whip in the meantime goes down in the mid lane. The Deathmark picking that one up. Now Matt Damon and Piglet have to get out or they might get dived. A beautiful plan comes out from Hinamori. Picks up an extra kill. And this is going to be the Dragon as well coming across for red team.
So much happened all at once with a baited out gank in the bot lane just not working out for them. They're very much Vice sitting in the wings trying to get Plymouth to overcommit. Just they didn't. They played it safe. They backed out, and as soon as they could, they counter-attacked and managed to pick up some good kills.
Yeah, really nice TP came out from that show though as well.
Yeah, we're a bit surprised not to see Renekton TP down as well. He didn't have any wards in the lane, but the fight was extended enough. There seemed to be a bit of a breakdown of communication because I started turning around as soon as the TP went in, but then ended up ulting, and they never were quite sure if they were staying or going, and ended up getting caught in between.
Yeah, I think Vidius perhaps expected a little bit more follow-up from his team when he went for that ult onto Hinamori, and then the exhaust just was not expected, didn't even manage to pick up that one kill, and that's really swung the game slightly in favour of the red team now. I mean, the gold is incredibly even still.
The gank. This is one of the problems, like, you need to gank your losing lanes, but if they're sitting at half HP, if you come and gank, someone might die, and that's just going to make the problem worse.
Yeah,
so it's a really big advantage for Corki here now in farm, as well as that kill.
Yeah, so I mean, Corki, one of the strongest laners in the current meta. Sivir, a really good pickup against the Corki. Obviously, you're able to spell shield a lot of that damage, but with Hinamori there as well, the spell shield has to be used for that binding. So Ches is more than able to just pump out so much damage onto Sivir in these fights. And red team looking like they want to push down towards this bot lane tier 1. Pantheon hanging around. He does have his ultimate available if they want to go for a dive here. And looks actually he's gonna head off towards his blue buff, looking to get that across onto Professor BrianCox and then maybe make a play for the spot lane tower.
Red side are definitely looking to focus bots right now. Pantheon is definitely sticking around, but they're playing it base. They have vision in blue side's jungle, so they're afraid of the counter gank. They got River very well controlled, but with Dragon not spawning again, 4 minutes, that's not going to give them a huge advantage.
Certainly not. A nice spell shield there from Piglet, winning that trade outright. Corki took a fair chunk of damage, and He basically walked away on full HP from that one. There is actually a book run. Actually, we're going to see TP coming down from Snugzilla now. Hinamori could be in trouble, but a beautiful ultimate comes out from Macho. Denies that completely. Snugzilla trying to force the fight in the top lane now. Macho able to just walk away, and quite a lot of minion damage as well going in onto Snugzilla. Vidius and BrianCox have both entered the top lane as well. Could be seen a 2v2, but blue team deciding they do not want that fight, just going to back away.
Slightly surprised to see that, as blue side actually made that engage. It's very rare that you get interrupted on your TP when you're engaging.
Oh, BrianCox could be in trouble here. There's the shockwave and nice jump forwards, but he's going to be stunned under that tower. Nice flash though, gets out of there. Now Georgelol manages to stun Vidius under tower. Here comes Lissandra. Vidius, you're in trouble. He goes down. Brings Pantheon with him though. Now AWhip getting chased away, but a nice dissonance to get the movement speed out. And BrianCox is going to be able to get away from that one as well on such little HP.
Really good escape there, dodging the Orianna ult, jumping back and then flashing the wall. Possibly he could have dropped down a bit more damage before, if I'm being hypercritical. He's still got his ignite, but that was a very good escape and then 1-for-1. Also very good presence of mind for Lissandra to be roaming down straight away. Just saw the gank and they countered well.
They definitely did. And I mean, red team right now, the Dragon isn't up for a little while, but Corki is about to finish his Triforce. He has enough gold in his bag right now. They want to be pushing out all of these lanes and starting to group up, trying to force these objectives. There's a tier 1 tower in all 3 lanes that they can push for. They know that their team comp is stronger than their opponents right now, and they need to start abusing it.
They're still quite even on gold due to the tower dropping, but with the Dragon they are ahead, both in power spikes and actual gold.
Piglet taking a lot of damage, and Hinamori's ultimate actually getting cancelled out. They're having to back away, and very little committed there from the blue team, but Hinamori's ultimate going down is a pretty big deal actually. It's going to mean that Ches and Hinamori can't really go for any kind of engages for basically until that comes up again. And in the meantime, Georgelol trying to gank this mid lane, but getting warded out.
To gank the Sivir, not the Sivir, gank Corki because of the damage he's putting out right now. It's just they came in, Sivir was burst down, they couldn't use anything else because Sivir would die if they committed. They did get the more gold as you said, so it was probably still worth for them, but they're not getting anything out of these little trades.
No, definitely not. BrianCox doing a good job of pushing that out. We do see the Triforce has appeared in Corki's inventory now. We've also got Morella and Nomicon picked up by Lissandra, so we should see the red team trying to abuse this power spike that they have now. Sivir with Infinity Edge cannot output the same kind of burst that Corki can, and Corki obviously able to get so many Sheen procs with his rockets, and with the Dragon coming up in 40 seconds, I'm not really sure that this is a fight that blue team can take. I mean, obviously they're even in gold, but that 6% damage from the first Dragon on red side is going to be really detrimental, and as well as compositionally, their team is just so strong in this mid game.
Especially with Lissandra having the teleport advantage. This is very much red team's Dragon, or at least should be. I don't know what else to say about it. They're just stronger in basically every regard. They got wards down first. They've now lost them because they didn't stick around to defend them, but they've still got some wards in the river.
And as well, they've put themselves in a bit of a tricky situation. They've all moved down. They want to contest for this Dragon right now. But it means, because Renekton doesn't have that teleport, Macho is happily just pushing away at this tower in the top lane. They have to start it immediately. That's what they're doing now. But if the red team are able to just poke them down a bit, they could just deny this Dragon to begin with. Hinamori could be in trouble here, a little bit late on the Black Shield. This Dragon is going to go down. Blue team manages to pick this one up before red are able to react. Now they're going to force the team fight. Piglet going to be the focus target, but there's going to be one kill coming in. Vidius gets taken down now. Snugzilla on the front line, but Hinamori goes down as well. BrianCox able to get the deathmark down onto Sivir. This fight is absolutely crazy. Snugzilla, the last man standing there, he's going to go down as well. Actually, AWhip got out on about 10 HP, but it is going to be red team's fight in the end. 4 for 2. But they did lose the Dragon.
Losing that Dragon is a real shame. They had position. They just didn't start the fight early enough. Like once the fight started, they were just winning it. Pam vaulting into the pit, even if they didn't fall instantly, he still got a ton of damage off. You don't tend to think of Pam's ult as a big damage source, but it is actually 200 or 300 damage to everyone in the pit. This game is quite a lot. A great Orianna ult just stopped that being like a whitewash. Otherwise, that was red team fight all the way.
I think the biggest issue was Ches and Hinamori were not in a particularly good position. They were down towards the bottom side of the Dragon Pit over towards that bot lane, and when the rest of the blue team came in, it sort of just forced them away from the fight, and Morgana and Corki both want to be behind George Lol when they start that fight. They need to be behind their sort of front line, even though or sort of lack of front line right now, but they don't want to be in that position where they can be focused down by their enemies. So it kind of forced a really disjointed engage.
It's very dangerous whenever you get caught in the pit, and they were caught in the pit. We do now see Bruno has TP advantage, as he didn't have it for that fight over Lissandra. So Lissandra's probably going to have to move top here, unless they're all willing to commit to this siege.
And we could possibly see
top.
There is still a tier 2 red tower available in that bot lane for the blue team to potentially push out if they want to go for that. We are seeing red team just sort of milling around this mid lane. They're just clearing waves at the minute. Neither team looking like they particularly want to force any objectives. Just seem content with farming up at the minute.
Split push mode. He's got his Bork, his Brutalizer, and he's got his Last Twister components. He can kill anyone right now. Brianna and his side play is going to go and sit bot. It's a bit difficult because of Spell Shield on Sivir.
Oh, he used his Shadow and he's going to go down. Piglet might go down with him though. Can he get the damage? No, he can't. And nice Spell Shield does block out that Shuriken, but now Snugzilla in a lot of trouble here. There's the smite, there's the stun coming out from George Law. That's a kill as well. The spear did crit very hard there, and now they're going to head up towards this top lane tier 1. In the meantime though, we're going to see Piglet pushing out that bottom lane tier 1, so we should see a 1-for-1 trade and a tower for tower trade.
A relatively even trade in the end. We saw them didn't have the wards in the red side jungle, and he might and showed on the map, and there wasn't actually any pressure yet. If he'd waited in the bush at bot lane until his team started elsewhere, they wouldn't have been up so much to him. So it was well played by Cardiff to catch him out there, but he could have been a little bit more cautious.
A good rotation as well. Yeah, a nice little play from red team there. Able to pick up an extra tower on the back of that, so going to be able to extend that lead ever so slightly. Macho looking for a fight here, does get the stun down onto A-Whip. BrianCox is going to be able to finish that one off, picks himself up a kill, and red team going to be more than happy with that one. Baron is now live in this game. We're going to have a little while until we hit the dragon respawn. But with a dragon on both teams, this next one, it's going to be a point of contention, certainly. I would expect red team to be able to pick it up fairly comfortably. They are starting to well ahead in gold, and they are still a bit ahead damage spike wise. Obviously Lissandra picking up that Zhonya's is going to be absolutely huge in the team fights, and as we said, Zed right now is looking terrifying. He'll be able to base and pick up a last whisper before the next dragon fight, which will be in 1 minute and 40 seconds. Ches actually could be in trouble. There's the ultimate coming out from Avidius, and actually BrianCox is going to jump forward to protect him. Ches still very low, does use the heal in the end. There's the Pantheon ult. George Lol getting the stun down onto Piglet now. It's going to be a 1-for-0 so far. Avidius getting caught out there. Nice little bait by Ches with the heal, and obviously Pantheon ult is just going to turn that fight in red team's favour.
We're going to have Sivir's splash and Zed's splash now down before the next dragon fight. I think the next dragon is just basically going to go to red team. They've got the wards down early, and there's no reason to contest without vision for the second dragon. Like, as long as you don't let them get 5, the second dragon doesn't actually add nearly the third dragon now. That I don't know if they feel that way though, so we may see a fight yet. They fought for the other dragons and it kind of gone okay for them. One of the dragons but then dying.
I think one of the things that you really see at the sort of more like amateur pro level games is that dragon really isn't necessarily worth fighting for too much around the mid game if you're going to lose the fight, but a lot of teams are still in that sort of dragon is worth fighting for mentality, still thinking it's sort of 190 golds worth of stuff, and sometimes it just isn't for your team. Like you say, the 5% movement speed, for example, it's really good if your team is looking, let's say you're running a pick comp, then it's really good for your team because you can rotate around the map that much quicker. But if your team isn't really running that sort of composition,
Like,
then it's just not worth fighting for.
Pantheon, but the other champions can just dash, move about very freely, and just won't. It's not as much stats as Gold would be.
We are going to see the dragon started off. It has been warded out, but it looks like red team should be able to just finish this one off before blue can get there. They are going to be able to smite that one away, and I mean, none of these dragons really being too much of a point of contention. I've not seen as many fights as we were really expecting for it, and I mean, I was most surprised by the one that red team sort of let get away from them, despite having the teleport advantage for it. But we are going to be seeing just taking away what they can and heading back to base. They do now have those 2 dragon stacks. The second one and the fourth one did get swapped around a little while ago, so damage to towers and buildings is going to be that second one, so potentially could see them going for a siege scenario. Still 2 tier 2 towers available on the blue side of the map, so Zed going to be heading into that bot lane for the split push again.
They've got some more deeper wards this time. They still don't have lane wards, and this is one of the things where Sivir excels yet again. It's against split pushes, because Sivir plus one other player will be able to kill Zed very quickly, and he won't be able to escape if he ever is caught out in bot lane. So you need to keep very good vision on where the team are at all times, so this doesn't happen. Or if it does happen, they need to be ready to counter push somewhere else on the map.
Yeah, I was going to say that's the issue. Obviously, they can send 2 players down, but if they do, it means that they're letting red team force somewhere else on the map. And by the looks of things, red team are planning on this. They're trying to bait them to the bottom lane, and if they can, they might look to try and take a top lane inhibitor. Vidius actually getting caught out by a binding here. Georgilol going to follow up on this one. There's the stun. The shockwave is going to be available, but a nice black shield going to deter that one. And blue team reacting nicely, heading up towards this top lane to try and stop this siege, but there are already 4 members here for the blue team, and now we're going to see a 1v1 in this bottom lane. Snugzilla is going to get death marked by ProfBrianCox. Does he have the damage? There's the Living Shadow, jumps back to his ultimate, gets a nice 1v1 kill. This is going to be a tier 2 bot lane tower going down no matter what happens in this top lane right now.
Zed is so strong right now. He moves on to 6 and 1, and with Renekton building some MR for the lane, he just doesn't stand a chance. The all-in is going to kill him.
Yeah, I mean, we saw him just quite happily walk underneath the tower. Vidius trying to engage a fight, but just gets absolutely melted. Lissandra ultimate just completely locking him up. Now Matt Damon in a lot of trouble. Piglet going to be the focused target. Ches does get exhausted. A nice spell shield saves his life, but not for long enough. Now Matt Damon going to fall down as well. A nice double kill comes out for Georgilol, and this could be another tower for them. Actually, A-Whip coming in could pick up a triple kill if he plays this well. A nice shockwave does pick him up 1 kill. Can he chase onto Georgilol? Flashes forwards. Oh, the Hex text. Hex Drinker does save his life. A-Whip trying to follow on to this one. Did get slowed down by Hinamori.
Down with a W, but no, she's given up in the end. Mobo's kicked in on Morgan, she was gone.
Nice Frost Queens there by Hinamori to just stop that chase.
This is a very, very strong point now for Red Team. They have to be very careful. Blue Team has to be very careful. Cardiff has to be very careful, in fact. Remember who's playing, to not let them lose an inhib. As long as they have their inhibs, they do have a better scaling comp. They just need to keep... They've got a lot of wave clear with Sivir, especially with the shields from Janna, as well as Orianna. They should even be able to wave for 2 lanes, which will be needed against Zed, and of course the rest of the team pushing another lane.
This is the point in the game as well where red team need to make something happen, because in the next sort of 5-10 minutes they are going to start to fall off and the blue team are going to start to get stronger. The later in the game now we get, the more likely it is that blue team become the stronger team, and they need to get that crucial inhibitor to force this lead and keep that pressure rolling.
Ends up finding the ward in time before she's killed. I'm always terrified of that river ward when you find it that late, because you know they've seen you walk around. They know you're clearing wards. They could be here any minute, but she got the ward and got out and oh, that's a nice
A-Whip nicking away that Scuttle Crab, going to keep vision of Baron for them. And I mean, without this inhibitor down, they don't really have too much pressure off Baron, just wanting to keep vision, but both teams have vision coverage of that pit at the minute, so not really going to be able to get anything. A nice pink ward is going to
But
deny
still,
that.
that's actually really key because it keeps Baron vision despite the fact they've cleared all the wards out.
Yeah, undeniable
Keep
Baron
Red team
vision as
here,
well.
waiting for Zed to build up enough pressure that Cardiff have to commit one way or the other. Commit to Zed or commit to fighting him at Baron.
And it looks like they have opted for the Baron choice, but if the red team can just stall this out and sort of kite the blue team, they may be in for something. But we're going to see the Sivir ult coming out. Vidius trying to force something. There's the ultimate. And nice Black Shield is going to deny the CC from that one. And nice binding as well onto Matt Damon. They're trying to deny this engage as much as they can. Jojo does get stunned up by Snugzilla, but they're not able to land any of their engages. Beautifully kited by the red team, getting some nice damage down as well. And now we see Zed coming in. Piglet in so much trouble. Gets crit by BrianCox and absolutely one shot. Now AWhip trying to do what he can. He needs to get a good shockwave here. They are stacked up. Can he land it? Doesn't look like he's going to be able to. Snugzilla goes down as well. That's 4 kills coming in for the red team. Triple kill comes across for BrianCox, and this is going to be the Baron.
Just seeing how hard it is for Vi to do anything against Morgana there, starting that whole sequence of players off. They were just able to disengage, and once Sivir ult had timed out, Vi ult was down, Zed came in and they re-engaged and easily managed to push their advantage into winning the team fight and taking the Baron.
And this is exactly what I was saying a minute ago. Red team needed to take a big objective to force this lead in their advantage, and now they have Baron. They're going to be able to push so hard, and if they continue with this Zed split push but that they've been running it with so far, with the Baron minions as well, it's going to be so hard to defend against.
It is very hard to stop the split push with these new minions. I mean, there are very limited players on the team who can clear these tough minions. I feel it's so much more infuriating playing against these minions. Like, you used to lose in team fights to players, now you lose to the minions. Just
Yeah.
basically you can't stop them, and it
Just can't kill them fast enough.
I'm like playing Sivir and I'm like wave killer AD carry and it's just not enough damage.
And I mean, what blue team going to do right now against this split push comp that they have going? I mean, Zed was already comfortable split pushing without the Baron minions. Now with those as well, I don't think they're going to have the wave clear to defend against this one. It looks like they are going to go 1-3-1 as well. Lissandra going to be pushing away at this top lane, has the teleport available. And I mean, they're happy to just keep on peeling themselves and keep on disengaging these fights. If they can just kite Vidius like they did in the last engage, they're going to be able to just pressure all 3 lanes simultaneously. It's going to be so hard for blue team to defend.
I think what they have to try and do here is what they tried before, but it's very hard against Morgana, is get these catches. With Sivir ult, if you stay free mid, they can just engage very quickly.
Uh-oh, Snugzilla in trouble. So much damage coming out from BrianCox already. The Deathmark annihilates him. BrianCox is going to be able to walk out of there. Has to use his Living Shadow. May go down though. They are chasing the Sivir ult. Is ticking away. I don't know if he's going to get away. There's the ultimate from BrianCox. From Vidius, sorry. BrianCox has to flash away over the wall. Not going to be able to follow it up. But in the meantime, red team have rotated towards the top lane. They're going to be able to force at least their tower here. AWhip in so much trouble. He goes down. Doesn't even get a chance to Zhonya's. Now BrianCox in trouble again, but he's just kiting the blue team. This is going to be the top lane inhibitor going down. This could well be game. In fact, there's 30 seconds on Orianna. If they choose to push it, are going to actually just push in towards this mid lane. They can take another tower somewhere here. They have a window of opportunity that they can abuse, and looks like they're going to go for the mid lane tier 2. Macho going to be happy to tank this one up. Ches has a lot of damage versus his towers right now.
Oh, never mind. Tank it
I mean,
forward.
There's not much blue team could really do because they were all so low from BrianCox's harass on. He did so much damage to Vidius and Damon that actually Hinamori could be in trouble. A nice slow comes out. The Black Shield going to defend against Janna's Zephyr there, and actually we're going to see a pretty brave push from BrianCox, and he's going to be able to get away with it. Vidius not having the ultimate available won't be able to chase him, and with the Baron buff still, he's going to be able to get a super fast recall like that. Actually staying, he wants to pick up a fight, has the Deathmark still available. He knows that they're not going to expect him to stay, and he's looking to pick up a cheeky kill, but
Deathmark is back up. Anyone goes near him is dead right now. The 10-1 Z is not to be messed with, I think.
yeah, he's happy to stay there. He doesn't even need to base. He's not even picked up tier 2 boots. 2,000 gold in his bag, but he has 4 items already. He is terrifying right now, and they're going to be pressuring the bot lane and the mid lane. They're using this Baron to such great effect. It has only just dropped off now, but they put on so much pressure across the map with that buff that actually a shockwave comes in onto the top lane and mid lane, but No follow-up at all from the blue team, and with that big team fight ultimate down, this could spell disaster as we see the siege continuing.
Well, super minions will soon push in. You see the thing very patient, just waiting for the supers. With Oriana ult down, it's going to be very hard for...
Here comes the dive. Macho joining straight in the front line. Does get the zonies off at the last second. George trying to get the stun onto Piglet. Does be able to get away, but there goes the death mark. And nice Mikhails doesn't quite save him though. Snugzilla now on the front line. He's just not tanky enough. BrianCox does so much damage. Matt Damon having to flash away from that binding. But again, it's a 3-for-1 for the red team. A-Whip now getting stunned up. There's the damage coming out from Josh Lawler. He's happy to tackle these towers. BrianCox is not going to be able to pick up the kill. The flash comes out from A-Whip, but that is going to be a Nexus tower going down. And they can choose to either end the game or get the inhibitors. They are going to try and end the game. Matt Damon getting crit out by Ches, the Sheen proc as well. There's so much damage. A-Whip now not going to get crit, but he is going to get stunned. George Lol, I'm pretty sure he was in fountain range there, but doesn't get stunned. Doesn't get killed, sorry. That is going to be the Nexus going down. 25-8, a convincing victory for the red team.
That was very well played there by Glenn. They took the early game dragon fights very well as the bot lane constantly avoiding ganks until they just didn't have anything else. Cardiff put a lot of effort into trying to get bot ahead and were unable to do so. And the game just snowballed from there.
Yeah, really, really well played by them. Abusing that mid-game power spike that they had and able to snowball that into a victory, forcing those fights that then secured them the Baron and secured them those inhibitors and eventually secured them the game. We are going to head into a short music break, but we will be back in a little while with our second game of the night. Do not go anywhere.